Beverly Hills, what are we doing? What are we doing? I just saw the reunion seating come out, and which, by the way, I agree with. But that indicates that we're at the tail end of the season, right? And I'm like, what was this season even about? I don't know. It was like Kyle versus Dorit. I don't know, Dorit, Sutton. It was all over the place. It was so disjointed. I'm just like, what? I, this ain't it. It's not as bad as last season. It's more enjoyable for sure. And there were some entertaining episodes, but I'm just like, y'all could have kept this season. I don't know. This episode, there was not much to talk about, so I'm not even going to hold you long. We going to fly through this, and I want to know your thoughts below. Are you enjoying this season? What do you want to get out of the next few seasons? Am I tripping? Like, is there something there that I'm not seeing? Because I don't know. This season and this episode was a whole lot of nothing. But before we go too much farther, let me go ahead and introduce myself. Welcome to the Tears Take. I upload weekly reality recaps. So if you love the Real Housewives and all of their antics, this channel is for you. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe so that you and other Bravo lovers will be able to see my content. Thank you in advance. So let's go ahead and just dive in, right? So we have the opening shots. We see Bose and her daughter, Lael, and they are just having tea, cute, whatever. Then Garcelle's with her son, Jade. They are getting his comp cards for modeling, so she's really excited. It's like a milestone, I would assume, in the modeling world. Then we have Sutton on the phone with her mom, planning her mom's travel itinerary because her mom was planning to go to Sutton's fashion show. And then we see Kyle and Kathy in the car driving. So this is where we land for a few minutes. Kyle and Kathy are driving to go get their mammograms, which I think is a great use of their platform. That's one thing I will give to Kyle. She does make it a point over several seasons now to really spread awareness, to get your mammograms, to check for breast cancer. So I will give Kyle kudos for that. So anyway, in the car, they talk about the photo that leaked with Mauricio kissing that woman. Kyle maintains that she found out with the rest of the world. She says she didn't see it coming, and she's kind of annoyed that he was so sloppy with it. She wanted to make it clear, like, hey, he can do what he wants, but he was just so irresponsible. And so she didn't appreciate that. And then she kind of goes on to say like a whole bunch of nothing. And I'm just thinking to myself, why does this woman get first chair every year? Because anyways. So then Erica shows off her finished decor in her rented casita. It looks great. Her mom comes to visit, and that's the it of that scene. So then we're back with Kyle and Kathy at the doctor. They all get good news. Everything's fine with their mammograms. And then they start talking about Mauricio again. And at this point, Mauricio hasn't reached out to Kyle. And Kathy says, when people are quiet, that tells you a lot. And I'm like, okay, that's true. So, because of the picture leaking and all of that, Kyle removes the word wife from her Instagram bio, and Mauricio apparently had already deleted husband from his and father. I was like, dang, what'd the kids do to you? So he took that off, and he just has his company up there. He said, F y'all. I said, dang, Mauricio. So Kathy alludes to how weird it is that this photo was even taken and leaked, and basically saying like, yo, he's not even that famous. So how did this even happen? And Kathy wanted to kind of figure out more about this woman in the photo, but then Kyle just squashed it. So in the next scene, Garcelle comes to visit Sutton at Sutton's store. They have a drink because Sutton is stressed with her fashion show coming up and with her mom's flight now being canceled. And my thing is, if you're chirping about how much money you have, why don't you fly your mom out private? Because it seemed really important for her mom to come. And I'm sure it meant a lot for her that her mom was making the effort. But after she made said effort and the flight got canceled, Miss Big Wallet, you should have flew your mom out. So anyway, so she was stressed out because of the cancellations and things like that. They're both excited for Jade to be in the show. And then Sutton mentions that she wants all the women to come and support. So Sutton sends a group text to invite everyone. And then they start talking about Kyle and Mauricio. And Sutton pretty much wants Kyle to wake up. She's like, okay, if you had any hope of getting back together, hopefully that's gone now that you saw this, and hopefully that gives you permission to move on. And she is just like ready to give her divorce attorney a call on Kyle's behalf. Like, she's ready to go. So then Erica sits down and talks with her mom, and they're just talking about again how far Erica has come. I don't care. Same conversations. Erica's been saying the same thing to different people all season long. We get it. She did say something that she's been thinking about Tom less and less, which is good. Out of sight, out of mind. So Dorit and Garcelle meet up, and I am so annoyed because when Dorit orders her drink now, I don't think she has said carcass out one time this season, and it is making me so upset. She has not said it. And I'm like, is it because Sutton called out the carcasses on the floor in the reunion? Maybe that's why. I'm like, every time she gets to the loving part, I'm like, and then she doesn't say it. I'm like, Dorit. Anyways. So they had some like really awkward small talk. Like, you can tell they genuinely do not hang out one-on-one. And, we know that they've had issues this whole time. So it took them a while to find their groove, and then they eventually start getting into a conversation. And Dorit says she's status quo with PK. Garcelle can relate because she's gone through a divorce with little kids. And then they start talking about the Mauricio photo and Kyle updating her Instagram. And then Garcelle brings up that there was a recent photo of Kyle in a freakum dress at Morgan's concert. And then they both kind of agree. It's weird that Kyle acts like she has such a problem with people talking about her and Morgan, but yet she doesn't do herself any favor doing all these public appearances with her. And I agree. And I want them to hold her accountable at this reunion. I just saw some reports that Kyle walked out of the reunion twice. I'm like, girl, you were not doing anything this season that gives you the leverage to walk out twice. Sit down and answer the questions for once. Every time someone has Kyle on the hot seat, it's stuttering. I don't know. I shared so much. I'm open. I'm honest. And it's a whole lot of word salad, but you say absolutely nothing. Are you with her? Are you not? Were you say what it is. At this point, no one even cares. Like, it's dumb. Anyway, so they basically just talked about like the Morgan situation and Kyle, and oh my God, I keep saying Kyle. No wonder Kathy kept getting Kyle and Garcelle mixed up. So then in her confessional, Garcelle says, of course Mauricio moved on so easily when Kyle, pretty much went public with Morgan. So, that kind of gave him permission to go do his thing. And I'm like, true. So Garcelle asked Dorit, hey, what's your beef with Sutton? And Dorit's like, wait, what? No, Sutton comes after me. And then Garcelle said, either in scene or in a confessional, that they both jab at each other, which I believe, which I said in my last recap, that I think they both, they both go tit for tat at this point. There's not one innocent person and there's not one aggressor in that relationship. They both go at each other. Dorit tells Garcelle that she has rose-colored glasses when it comes to Sutton, and basically asked her, like, do you think what she said to me at Caviar Caspia was okay? Like, do you stand by that behavior? And Garcelle said, no, that was mean. That was cruel. And so Dorit said, it would have been nice if you spoke up in the moment. And Garcelle agrees. So they both agree that Garcelle can, hold Sutton more accountable when they're around other people. And in the confessional, Dorit said, as long as Garcelle is um, doing Sutton's bidding, we're just never going to get close. And, I don't blame her. Like I said, it's the issue with Sutton and Dorit. It's so back and forth. I don't think it's fair to place her, like how close she can get to Garcelle based on her relationship with Sutton. Um, Actually, no. I think it's because Garcelle is so clearly like biased for Sutton and coddles her. And so I guess I agree. I agree with Dorit for that. So it's the day of Sutton's fashion show, and she is setting everything up. The venue looks great. Unfortunately, Sutton's mom couldn't make it. There were just too many like cancellations or flight delays, and so she couldn't make it. As Kyle arrives, she avoids the red carpet for the very first time in her life because Lord knows she loves attention. She was just like, I just can't talk about Mauricio right now. I'm like, girl, hush. There was a split second where we see Sheena from Vanderpump Rules. I was like, girl, why are you on my screen? Sutton's acting weird in front of Bose again. Bose is just trying to like congratulate her and like let her know she's happy for her. And Sutton can barely put a sentence together. She's like, oh, my head was in the sand. Well, it actually was in the laptop. And I get what she was saying, but again, her energy was just very weird with Bose. If Bose thinks she's a weirdo, I agree, because she just seems really weird and awkward around Bose for some reason. So, Garcelle points out in her confessional that Sutton clearly has a void of validation. She just never really got validation from her mom. She never got validation from her husband. And so she's putting a lot of pressure on herself to prove to herself and to these other people who never really validate her that she can succeed. And so Garcelle was just pointing that out. Sounds like a spokesperson to me. And then Dorit sees Kyle and asks how she's doing. And Kyle immediately brings up the paparazzi photo of her at Morgan's concert. And she's like, it's not like I'm trying to get Mo jealous. And let's be honest, Mo doesn't get jealous anyway. I was like, yeah, you found out he doesn't get jealous when the first time you try to gallivant with Morgan and he didn't care. He had his women on the side too. So yeah, now he's not jealous. And then she did say at this point that Mo did text her an apology. And then now Kyle is alluding that the woman that he was with may have called the paps, because she takes the line that Kathy said, like, oh, well, he's not Brad Pitt. Like, why would they come and take the picture? So, which is true, but I'm wondering why it took her this long for that to sink in. I don't know. Something in the milk and clean with that situation. And I feel like I think Kyle knows more than she's letting on. So Kathy and Bose join Dorit and Kyle. And Kathy mentioned she hurts her knee. She had hurt her knee right before she joined them. So they all get seated. And then Kathy was like, oh, Dorit should narrate the show. And so she like weirdly goes backstage to tell Sutton, like, well, do you need Dorit's help? Sorry, my nose is itching. So then she weirdly goes backstage to ask Sutton if she wants Dorit's help to narrate the show. And Sutton was like, no, girl, what? And she's like, it's not 1995. And clearly the fabulous Kathy Hilton has been to fashion shows and knows how they're run and knows the decorum and knows, like, it was so stupid. It wasn't iconic. Like, sometimes I'm like, Kathy, bye. Like, there are some funny Kathy moments, but then when she has them forced, it's so cringe and like, they fall so flat, and this fell so flat. Like, you looked crazy going back there. It wasn't funny. Like, get your head out of the clouds. You know how fashion shows run. Even if she did want some 1995 MC, she would have had that in place and wouldn't want someone. I don't even know why I'm defending this. We know it's stupid and it's dumb. And Kathy, so then after Sutton says no, Kathy starts limping back to her seat, and then she's like on the runway and she like stops and as she's walking back, that's when Sutton starts the show. And probably if the show started, there was probably music playing. So that probably would have been a good cue for Kathy to say, "Oh, they're starting," and hobble a little faster back to her seat. But instead of doing that, she stops and talks to somebody in the front row, and she's like clearly in the walkway, like in the way of the models. And so as she's talking to someone and just acting so oblivious, a model comes down and kind of just, walks around Kathy, and everyone watching, like Kyle and Erica and everybody were like, "Oh my God, oh Kathy." And I'm like, girl, that's not cute. It's not funny. Not that you're at the Chanel fashion show, but it's Sutton's fashion show. It's something that she put a lot of work into. So sit your ass down and watch the show. It's really not that hard, especially if you hurt your knee. Sit down. Why are you doing all this? It wasn't funny to me. Some people were like, "Oh my God, Kathy." I did not find it funny. Where's the funny? If you find the funny, let me know. It wasn't funny. It wasn't cute. It was forced and whack. So Kathy can go, in my opinion. So the models come out. They look great. The collection looks okay. It looks decent. Jade did so well. He did such a great job. Like, he looks like a legit model. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. So Garcelle was so proud. And Jennifer Tilly walked in the show. I don't know what she was doing, but it worked. It's Jennifer Tilly. I feel like Kathy thinks that, like, what Jennifer Tilly does, Kathy thinks she does. And it's a whole different aura, because while Jennifer is very light and silly and fun, she still is on planet Earth, where Kathy is like more sinister, but then pretends to be like Miss Cotton Candy. So anyway, show was great. The women congratulate Sutton, and Sutton makes a speech. Before that, at the end of the show, Sutton makes a speech, and she's like, "My daughter's in the audience. My mother couldn't be here today. I hope they're proud of me. I hope my daughter's proud. I hope my mother's proud." That was really it. She got an applause. The women congratulated her afterwards, and Sutton was feeling really good about herself, and she was basically saying that she thinks that the women were genuine, and she feels good about that. And child, at the end of the episode, we can see Kathy Hilton's tracks showing in her hair. You have how much money, ma'am? And you can't get a good weave? Girl, call me. So then, that was it. That was a snooze fest. I was like, at the end of the episode, I'm like, was that it? Was that a shortened episode? I don't know. Maybe we had a few longer episodes, but it seemed really short. It seemed really flat. I think they're just putting any old thing together. It was literally the same conversation repeated in 5 different scenes. What about Kyle and Mo? What about Kyle and Mo? What about this picture? So I don't want to hear about it next episode unless this woman is knocked up and there's been some like extreme development in this like scandal, or, it's not really a scandal, but unless there is some like really exciting development, I really don't care. Y'all can keep it. Y'all can email me this next episode because, anyway, that was my thoughts. If I'm completely off base in your opinion, let me know below. Let me know how you want to see the rest of this season unfold. It doesn't seem like we have that many episodes to go. So how did you like this season? What do you want to see for the rest of this season? And I'll give me your comments and I will respond back. As always, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.